Hi everyone, Lady Bachar, Angela here with a dress tutorial. It's very simple and I hope you can follow along. I tried my best, so here we go. So first off, you just need one fat quarter. If you want two, that's fine. But these are all the supplies that you need: clips, pins if you like, scissors. You need measuring tape if you want. You don't have to. Again, this is very simple. You do need an iron or some type of heat source. Also, I am going to be using my Singer Heavy Duty as well, and you will also need your doll that you are making this for. You can use buttons as well, and I am going to use hook and eyes and ribbon in this video. So ribbon is just for decoration or straps or closures or whatever. So here we go. So I'm going to be using both of these colors for this tutorial. And I do have a spray bottle because I don't put water in my iron, just because it can get kind of moldy if it's left in there. So I'm just opening the fat quarter, and it can be anything. This is going to be both the same fabric. I do use this for art supplies, so I keep it, so I do not throw it out. So we have the fat quarter, and I have not ironed it out, so this is going to be kind of a cheat. So I usually cut about half of the fat quarter lengthwise, so the half right there if you wanted a dress. You will have to take into account probably about a quarter to a half an inch for the hem. If you want a shirt, it'll have to be about halfway up, and so you're going to want to add that on for the seam allowance. So I'm going to do about midway-ish. Again, this is not, the skirt part is just eyeballing it, so I'm going to be folding the fabric in half, and I'm going to be cutting once. So I again measure because I am very bad at measuring. So I am going to measure where I feel this should be. So and throughout the video you'll see both the blue and the pink. So, and it's a good thing because I did mess up on the blue one time. So here we go. This is for the top. So I'm just measuring. You can measure with your fingers, you can measure with a measuring tape, or a piece of paper or a piece of ribbon or anything that you like. The bust is what we're measuring. So I know for the Rose Helm, she is a 6.5 inch bust around, so I'm giving it 7 inches. Here you can see I only want it so high, so I'm going to take half of that, or four times that, excuse me. So I know it's a lot of numbers. I'm just eyeballing it basically. So I'm going to cut more than I need because I'm going to cut off the salvage edge. I don't want that. So you don't want that. Just throw it out. So we have both the top and the skirt now. And again, I'm just going to measure, just eyeballing it. And yes, this is about how much you want for the top because you're going to be folding it about 2 or 3 times. So here I'm just going to be ironing, and the ironing part is probably going to be your best bet. Please do not skimp on the iron. Please do not. Here we are with the skirt. The skirt, we're just folding up the hem on the bottom. So we're going to fold it up about a quarter to a half an inch, depending on how big you want it. Again, I'm just eyeballing this and just trying to make it straight. So we're going to fold it up just one time, iron it down, and then we're just gonna fold over that edge just like so, and kind of sandwich in the raw edge and iron that down. And again, I've cut out some of the ironing parts just because I've left the iron on it for a few seconds, and it would just make the video really long. So just know, iron it out until you feel that it is ironed the best it can be. So I'm just putting some clips in. You can put pins in if you like, or you don't have to at all. So here's the top. You're gonna fold it in half and you're gonna iron All right, this is going to be a reference point for you. So once you have that done, open it up, and we're going to have one edge towards the middle mark you just made, and you're going to iron. And you're also going to do this to the other side as well. It's going to look sort of like a hot dog. So a hot dog bun. So do that and iron. After you've gotten this done, you're going to want to fold it over and kind of measure eyeball on your doll. So I'm going to do a hook and eye, so I don't need this much, but if you're using a button, this would be perfect. If you want some overlap for a button, and you also want a little bit to be hemmed on the sides. So I'm just cutting some off because I'm using a hook and eye. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take in the sides, and we're going to press those sides in to get a clean finish. So do that on both sides, and then we have our little hot dog bun. There we go. And see, all of the raw edges are on the inside, and so I again measured one more time just to make sure, and then I'm going to press one last time just to make it flat. I'm going to clip as well, and then this top piece will be put to the side until further notice. This is my machine. This is the settings that I have it on right now. It is a straight stitch. It has a number 4 tension. It is the stitch length of 2. So it's a very tiny stitch. It's not the smallest, but it is tiny. So I'm here, I have the skirt and I have the machine set up already. So this is very basic stitching, sewing machine. So I'm just going to back stitch, and then I'm going to stitch the bottom hem that we ironed to the skirt. I'm going to go all the way down, and I'll back stitch at the end as well. After this point, the sides need to be hemmed as well. You can use fray check. I do not. I'm just going to fold it over once. You can fold it over again, just like we did the bottom, but I feel that that turns out to be very bulky in the end, because we're going to have to sew the sides together at some point in the end. So again, I'm just back stitching at the start and finish, so none of my threads come apart. And now this is the other side. So you want to do it to both sides. Again, you can use fray check, or you can roll the hem if you don't want the fray edge, the raw edge, to be out. At this point, we're going to be working with the top of the skirt, so the raw edge of the skirt now. I'm going to set my machine to the longest length stitch, which is number 4, and I'm going to sew one straight stitch all the way down the top, that edge right there. And it's not going to have any back stitches whatsoever, because this is how we're going to make our ruffle, our gather at the top, to put into our top piece of the dress. So again, just very quickly, you can even do this by hand. All this can be done by hand. It will take a little bit longer, but it can be done. So you want strings on both sides. And what you're going to do is you're going to separate the strings. You're going to have one designated gather string, and that's the one you're going to pull. And pull very lightly, because you don't want it to break, but pull enough to where it's going to give you that nice gather. And you're going to just have to work the gather into the skirt, because the skirt is kind of long. On the other side, use the same thread as the other side. So you want the front or the back, whichever one you chose. So you'll use both of the same. And you're just going to have to gather it as much as you need. And this is where I messed up. So we're going to change to the pink one for now. So what you're going to do is you're going to open up your hot dog. Do not do it towards the back, so the good side is facing up. You're going to sandwich in the good side facing up to the top middle of the hot dog top, if that makes sense. Just see what I'm doing here. Again, I've left this in pretty much uncut because I wanted to show you that it can be a struggle to get the correct shape or gather that you want, or how it to lay down the way you want it to. So it took me a while, but just keep at it and just do your best. And you want it to come up to that middle ironing point at the top of that top piece that we made. So you don't want it to go over, and you don't want it to peek out, because then it wouldn't be inside the top. So excuse me, this is how it'll look. So once we finish, we're just going to pull it down, and that'll be the top. So you can actually see how it's going to look. So what I do is I put it in my machine, and I give it a pretty good length of stitch. So I give it about a 3, because it does have a bunch of gathers, and the gathers can be very bulky. So I do it once all the way through. Make sure that, you know, your threads are out of the way. Again, I keep my threads for gathering just in case this happens and I have to gather some more right before the end of my stitching. So again, it's not perfect. It's very simple. And again, you can do this by hand. Make sure that your sides are rolled up, your hemmed sides for the top. You just backstitch at the beginning and end. So there's one stitch there. I don't like it just with one, just because it doesn't feel very secure to me. So I'm going to do one more just a little bit further down. I'm just moving my needle position, that's all. So it gives a little bit better finish that way, I think, just for security purposes. So now that we have both, you're just going to fold everything over and see how everything is tucked in. This is where you can put in ribbons on the sides if you like, or you can sew them after. They might look better if they were sewn in. That's if you're doing ribbon. So all you're going to do is do basically a U shape. And so you go down one side and you go all the way across the bottom of the top piece. And then you're going to go up the other side as well. So everything's enclosed and looks pretty, and all the hems and the raw edges are on the inside. And then basically you have a dress or a top. This is going to be a top, but basically a dress. So one more step in the sewing machine part is the back seam. So depending on your doll, you want to sew up the side of the dress or the top so that your doll can still fit through the opening. This one I made a little bit too tight, but she can squeeze through it. So just be aware that you need to probably use your doll for reference at this point in time. So here it is, pretty much done. All you would need is to put flare, a closure, ribbons. This one is my one that I messed up on, and this is how I fixed it. So I placed it on the wrong side. So this I just used for ribbon, and these are my hook and eyes. Again, you can use buttons, and I just sewed the ribbon on the sides, hand stitched them, and I hand stitched the halter top as well. I did not hand stitch the ribbon on. I sewed that with the machine, but I did do the hook and eyes by hand. But this is how they turned out. So I know it's a very quick tutorial, but it's a very simple thing. I didn't really measure, but I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.